The Burdge Law Office specializes in RV lemon law nationwide. The following is not legal advice. For additional information, see rvlemonlaw.com. Hi again, everybody. Welcome to Wingman Wisdom today. I am Alan Warren, the RV Wingman. And if you missed the first two parts of this video series, I'll drop links to them in the description down below. So make sure you watch part 1 and part 2 so you get caught up. Now, I'm not a lawyer. I don't pretend to be a lawyer here on YouTube, but I do happen to know the nation's foremost RV lemon lawyer. I don't think anyone has represented more clients for more than 30 some odd years than Ron Burdge has. Ron is with me now as we continue with this series with a segment that I'm calling Games RV Manufacturers Play. What are some things that me as an RV owner that I do inadvertently that might void my warranty? Because I know there's got to be some things that are, well, you shouldn't have done that.
There are. And they typically fall into a couple of categories. One of them is that if you register the vehicle under a business name or anything other than a human being's name, then a lot of these warranties say that is business use, even if you never use it for business. The mere fact you registered it on something other than a human person's name can cost you your warranty or reduce your warranty down to anywhere from 30 to 90 days and you're done instead of the year you were counting on getting. And a lot of dealers won't tell you that. In fact, some dealers will outright deny it and say that, no, you get the full 1 year warranty or whatever it may be. When in reality, if you actually read the warranty, you may find out that's not what's going to happen. Another thing that a lot of times happens is that the owner will make some kind of a business use. We had one lady who was a realtor who returned a couple of calls while she was on vacation in her RV. And under the terms of the warranty, that was deemed to convert it into a business use. I mean, it's crazy some of the language that got in there.
And so that was the one thing, and that threw it out. So she lost.
That's all it took. Yeah, what about all the rest?
What about making repairs? If I go to my dealer, I've got something that's a legitimate warranty claim. The dealer just dragging. I can't do this, and got to wait in line. And I say, you know what the heck? I'm going to fix it myself, or I'm going to get my own technician to do it. Can that void a warranty?
It can't void the whole warranty, but what it does do is it voids the warranty on whatever you touch. So essentially, you go in there to fix one component. Okay, your factory warrant for that component, that's gone. But that's what I'm working on. I'm working on the problem that's broken. I'm not working on something that isn't broken. Yep. Doesn't matter whether you got it fixed or not. The way that factories look at it is if you get in there and meddle around trying to get something fixed that we haven't gotten to because we haven't got time to get you in yet, well, if you do anything wrong, that warranty is gone on that part of the overall RV. Or if you have another problem that can be traced back to where you were working on it, then they'll use that excuse.
When it comes to safety recalls, I know that you stay on top of the safety recalls better than anybody else. In fact, you're my go-to resource for RV recalls. How does a recall come about, Ron? What makes, how does it start and how does it turn into the National Highway when NHTSA or whatever it is issues this recall, safety recall?
Yeah, that's NHTSA, and they put on their website a detailed description of how a recall can come about. And that's worth taking a look at if you're out there wondering about your RV. But if you want to have a summary of it, basically the short of it is that what's supposed to happen is that anytime a manufacturer discovers something wrong that can impact safety, they're supposed to report it to NHTSA, NHTSA. And if an owner has something that they feel is a safety issue, they can individually report it to NHTSA. And NHTSA keeps track of all that stuff. If there's enough complaints about the same make, model, and problem on a vehicle, NHTSA can launch an investigation into it. That process that they go through can end up with NHTSA establishing a recall. What most people don't realize, however, is that most recalls are the result of self-reporting by the vehicle manufacturer. In other words, Their own data tells them that there's a big enough problem, they probably ought to do a recall because this is a safety or safety-related issue. When they make that determination, then they send notice to NHTSA that they're going to do a recall. NHTSA then eventually will publicly pronounce that recall. It looks like NHTSA ordered it, but actually most of the recalls are not ordered by NHTSA. They're done by the manufacturer. Now, the problem with that process is that it allows the manufacturer to sort of sit on a problem until they decide that this is a big enough problem, we got to do something.
I would think that there'd be a fine, a penalty or something to a manufacturer that was sitting on something that could be a safety, hazard for the people that bought their RV, and they just sit on it waiting. Well, maybe that's the last one we're going to get. And when NHTSA gets enough complaints from the people that own that particular model, then the manufacturer would get some kind of a slap on the wrist or something.
Well, they do get an investigatory letter saying, hey, we're looking into this. And that's the first indication to the manufacturer that, okay, now they're looking over our shoulder. So they may at that point decide to go ahead and do a recall. There is the ability of the federal government to assess a fine, a penalty, if you will, for not issuing a recall. But that hardly ever occurs. And the reason is because when NHTSA starts an investigation into a specific defect, they have to notify the manufacturer and they request all the manufacturer's information on it. Well, that's like giving somebody a heads up when you're pointing the gun at them that you might pull the trigger. Well, obviously what they're going to do is immediately think about doing the recall and beating NHTSA to the punch.
Well, you have, not long ago, you had on your Monday morning recalls, it's the longest list of recalls that I have seen probably ever. Can you talk about what it was and how that whole thing kind of transpired?
Yeah, in the last couple of months, there have been some recalls that started with a supplier of parts, but because those parts were universally used in a whole bunch of different manufacturers, all of a sudden you start ending up with almost a waterfall of recalls coming from the manufacturer because the component supplier or the part supplier isn't the one that does the recall. The one who does the recall is the one who's inserting them into the finished product. And so we saw a bunch of recalls that had to do with leaky valves on propane, at either the propane tanks or the stoves themselves. There were sets of them, so to speak. And first one manufacturer would do a bunch, and then another manufacturer would come out with it, and it was kind of like every week, and then all of a sudden there was a whole bunch in one shot. And it just makes you sit back and wonder how bad it has to get before they start noticing and fixing these things ahead of the recalls.
How long does it take to replace those parts? I mean, if they don't make a couple of hundred of them, they make thousands of these parts, and the supplier doesn't know they're making a defective part, I don't think, most of the time. But all of a sudden it happens, you got a bad plastic valve. I mean, a lot of people are out there with a potential hazard that they're RVing right now, even though they know they're waiting on whatever their part happens to be.
And a lot of times the owner or the dealer doesn't even know that the recall has happened. They're sitting there waiting because the manufacturer, when they send the recall notice into NHTSA, they name when it is, the date that they're going to send the notice out to the dealers, and the date that they're going to send the notice out to the owners that they're aware of. So the result of it is you may end up with a supplier who made a part that they find out was bad. They notify the manufacturers that they sold it to so that the RV companies can take a look at it and figure out what they're going to do. The RV companies, if they decide, okay, we do need to do a recall on this, they notify NHTSA, and they notify NHTSA not just of the existence of it, but also of the intended date when they're going to send out a notice to the owners and a notice to the dealers, so the ones that are sitting on the lot and not sold yet can be dealt with too. And that notice date usually follows the actual recall by anywhere from 30 to 90 days. In the meantime, you got, these owners who are driving around with their RV, parking it, lighting up their stove, turning on their propane, doing who knows what in the normal course of camping. And every time they do that, there's a risk, and they don't even know it.
Do you see why Ron Burdge is my go-to guy when it comes to all things RV and lemon law related? He really is brilliant. And having insight into what he has learned over the last 3+ decades is invaluable to so many people. Now, here's the reality. If you're watching this video, you are one of the very, very few that will actually watch this, because it's not a go get them, yeah, in your face kind of video. This is an educational series providing you with info that I hope you will never need to know. But if you do, you've got it right here on Wingman Wisdom. You, I promise you, are smarter right now after watching the first 3 parts of this video series than 95% of the other RV owners that are out there. So thank you for watching. Part 4 will be tomorrow. If you like this series, in fact, here's what I want to know. Do you like these kind of educational segments, or I know it's not going to get all the hits that if I read some crazy email somebody sent me. I'm not looking for hits. I'm looking to connect you with smart people, providing valuable, important information that can help make your life a whole lot less stressful. So let me know what you think. Drop a comment down below. If you'd like to get a free evaluation, free. Don't go, if you got a problem RV, don't go hire a lawyer, not yet. Go to the link that's down in the description. Ron Burdge's law firm, which is made up of only lemon lawyers, will give you an evaluation for free. Just fill out the information on the webpage. There's no obligation. It's not some kind of a referral deal, I promise. But if you think you have a lemon, go and check out the link, fill out the information, and an actual RV lemon lawyer will evaluate what you provided, and they'll get back to you and they'll say, well, I'm sorry, I don't think you've got a case, or you know what, I think we need to talk. So again, that information is in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. Drop a comment. Let me know what you think of this educational series, and I will see you tomorrow with video number 4. I'm Alan Warren, the RV Wingman. Be safe, have fun, play nice, and don't leave your good manners at home. I'll see you next time.